tea. It's like a bright morning tea, so it's supposed to uplift your mood and then also like help with like hormonal balance. So there's like a little bit of red raspberry in there, some clover, because you know we need all the hormonal help we can get. There we go. Okay, perfect. How's everybody feeling? Please let me know how your week was for those of us that didn't like join in for like Wednesday's class or Friday's class. Just let me know like how your week was. Okay. Oh, see, yeah, I don't even have my fans on today, so like I'm pretty sure I'm gonna end up having to put one on eventually. But right now it's not super hot outside like the light for the video. So I'm very happy about that. Like it's nice for it to not be extremely hot for once, you know? Like really appreciating it so much. I'm so excited because I actually have um a message to share with everyone that I received yesterday. I did a lot of self care over the weekend, which is very important to do, especially when you're starting to feel a little like uneasy or overwhelmed, you know, by what's going on in the world. So I spent all of yesterday, the rest of Friday, even like the earlier morning of today, just like taking care of my body, you know, cleaning my home. These are all things that help us to feel a bit more grounded. I know it can feel very trivial to do that, but it's super important when we take care of our vessel, right? I noticed for me that when I start to feel stagnant or like overwhelmed by grief or by rage, I don't really want to do anything, right? I don't have any desire to get up, do anything. I don't want to go anywhere. I'd been in my house for like 3 days and completely was unaware that I was in my home for that long, without getting any fresh air. And I want to say that because I want to tell you that it can happen literally to anybody. Um, Self included. So yeah, if you're feeling a little stuck in your energy, especially because of like the part 2 of Capricorn, the Capricorn full moon that we experienced last Sunday, I feel like we're gonna start getting a bit more relief. We're like 1 week in, right? From the effects of it. I know we have a Mercury retrograde coming up, things like that. I have a masterclass on retrogrades that is probably available on YouTube. If not, it's definitely available in the garden. And it just talks about the purpose of retrogrades and you know why you shouldn't fear them. So if you're getting stressed out about the upcoming Mercury retrograde, which most people get stressed out about, please check that video out. But let me catch up with the comments first before we jump in. Mel, hi Mel. Feeling raw and vulnerable. I understand that, but try my best not to get lost in the stories, overwhelmed. I'll also get my special tea. Please get your tea so we can like sip tea together. One of my favorite things to do is to drink tea with people. I love that. Me too. I have the window open. Same, Luis. I have my window open. It's so nice. Plus, you know, I didn't realize how loud it was with the fans in the background, so it's nice to kind of hear a bit more quietness. Lotus, thank you for Friday's meeting. It was very meaningful. Jack, thank you for being there. It meant a lot for me to have you there. Hi, Tammy. How are you? Michelle, good morning. How are you? Mila, can I get a shout out? Hi, Mila. Hopefully that works. See, I'm feeling full of emotion, sadness for leaving my home for the past few years, melancholy for leaving behind friends and family, excited to move to Japan. Wow, what a big transition. I also brought my other phone to take notes, so look who's being productive. I want to make a note of that because that's huge. It also makes like a lot of sense, like just given like how the cosmos are working, why you would have a big transition like that. Um, right? So big. Hello, hello, hello. And understandable too. When we are shifting environments, it could feel really like, oh my goodness, right? Like everything that I know and love is no longer going to be close to me, right? And though that is also that is a truth, right, that you're experiencing in this moment, they'll still be there, just in a different way that you're communicating with them now. And when you move to your new environment in Japan, you know, you'll have that wonder, you'll have that ability to cultivate that in a different part of the world. And then you're having double the community that you need to help you in your expansion. So please keep us updated. See, I know it's very hard to transition. It was hard for me. I only moved like 2 hours from my hometown, and I can still feel it every now and then. But I'm also really grateful for what I've been able to cultivate here, right? Hi, Tracy. How are you? My best friend and I are having troubles as she's talking about me behind my back, and you really helped me out after school every day. Bless you. Oh, Mila, thank you so much. And, also, too, hopefully you're able to have a conscious conversation with your best friend. I know it's kind of hard to do when we're younger because we have a lot of hormones and an ego that kind of comes up. And the first thing that we think is like, oh, you're trying to say I'm a bad person, and I'm not a bad person, right? Like, I'm trying to express myself. Um, Hopefully you guys are able to have like a heart to heart, speak from your heart, and allow each other to hear what the other one is saying. Sometimes it'll be very hard to acknowledge the fact that maybe you aren't doing your best, or maybe they aren't doing their best. So hopefully you'll be able to have that space. And if not, as someone who's had many friendships that I thought were going to last forever, um, when we evolve and we change and we honor transformation in our lives, our friendship circle does shift, and that's also okay. It doesn't mean that you guys were bad friends to each other, or that you like there's bad blood. It just simply means like you guys are evolving, and there's different versions of you emerging. Sometimes you have a friend that carries throughout those different versions of your life, and sometimes you don't. Sometimes friends are there for a season, and we honor both and we cherish both. But I'm hoping that you guys have a heart to heart. Okay. Let's see. Of course, Mila, Tracy, I have the special tea and my special mug. Yay! Cheers. Cheers to you, Mel. Cheers to anyone else that has some tea. You see my little crack? That's how you know it's loved. It was a gift. I can't give it away. I also tend to myself in my home today. Love this for you. Mila, I'm also feeling triggered in the best for situation. Yes, yes, yes. Mel, the mug is important as the tea for me. Yes, my mugs mean everything to me. Again, I have glassware. I have regular cups. But I feel like I always give them to my sister, and they're probably in her apartment. Siblings, right? Um, let's see. Mel, nice to hear about the specialty and mug. Same. Hi, Rahana. We've missed you so much. How are you? Hi, Matthew. Hello, enjoying a warm cup of spicy chai. I love that. Oh, that sounds so good. That sounds really, really good. Oh my goodness. Yes. Welcome to the tea club. Love, love, love tea. I'm actually gonna take another sip because this is really refreshing. Beautiful. Okay. So, yeah, I know. Everybody's like, chai, chai. Okay. I wanted to share the message with you that I received that I feel like could be helpful to the community. And then we'll do a nice little moon reading for this upcoming week and a guided meditation, prayer, intention setting to close it out. Okay. My intention is that we actually do this for an hour because it is called Lotus Hour. I know sometimes you just dive into conversation and it's so good. But it'd be nice. It'd be nice to be within the hour time frame. Hi, Sonia. How are you? Okay, so for those that do not know, this is called Lotus Hour. This is a safe space for caregivers, educators, practitioners, healers to come to decompress, to share whatever it is that they've been carrying throughout the week, and then to transmute that energy so they can start the next week feeling their best, feeling aligned, and allowing themselves to show up and give that quality love and care that they're known to give without burning themselves out. Okay. So that's really what we do here every Sunday. We come together and we connect with each other all around the world, which is so amazing to me. And we just take care of ourselves, take care of our mind, our emotion, our spirit, and our body because we deserve to do that. We need that. If we're going to continue to move this world forward, we need safe spaces for ourselves. So I'm very happy to host this with you. And yeah, let's start off with the message, okay? Yeah, yeah, I'm so happy. Oh my goodness, you're on day 18 of the magic? Amy! Yes, I love this. Oh my gosh, guys. I love that book. Courtney! Hi, good morning. Okay, I brought my new mug at a maker's fair recently. Oh, I love handmade mugs. My goodness, it looks like the universe. Oh, wow. I went to the same fair last year, but couldn't buy anything last year as I was too broke. I said next year I'll have more money. And you said next year you have more money, and you did. And you got a beautiful mug out of it. I love this. That's amazing. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Okay, perfect. So let me pull up my note that I had that I wanted to share with you all. Is it this one? Okay. So the main thing that came up for me that I was like, ooh, I want to share this with the community is to spend more time with yourself. And we're going to kind of talk about that briefly and like what that can look and feel like. I know for some of us, it could feel a bit overwhelming or unrealistic to spend time with yourself, right? Maybe it's that you don't spend time with yourself and the thought of that is like, whoa, I don't know if I want to spend that amount of time with myself. I don't know if that's going to be enjoyable for me. Or maybe you're on the other end of the spectrum. It's like, I would love to spend more time with myself, but I absolutely do not have time to give to myself, right? This came to me very, very clearly as I was doing a restorative yin yoga practice at night. And, you know, I just did like a whole body care thing. And I was sitting there and the voice was so clear. And this is what happens when you take really good care of yourself, when you slow down, when you tap into the body, you begin to hear your intuition clearly, right? People don't realize that the difference between intuition and like criticism, like that inner critic, right? The inner mean person in your psyche, is your intuition is not loud and it's not belittling you. It's also not making you second guess life at all. It's giving you very clear, concise directions. Sometimes we can hear it, sometimes we feel it, sometimes we see it, sometimes we sense it, right? These are different like clairaudience, clairvoyancy, things like that. But ultimately, when it's your intuition is literally giving you clear steps. It's usually something very simple. It's never something super intricate at all. It's very simple for you to implement because it will provide you immense change, right? It goes back into that understanding that the universe really moves in simplicity. It's not as complex as we make it out to be. We make life complex. The universe does not, because everything is simple to source, because source created everything, right? Think about something that you've made, right? You're probably like, oh, it's like this. It's one, two, three. And everybody's like, what? No, it sounds like crazy. So what goes first? This and this. And it's like, no, it's really simple to do. It's simple because you understand because you created it. So keep that same understanding when you're thinking about source and when they're calling things in for you. It's not a hard thing for source to do. It's very, very simple. So going back to the main message of spending time with yourself. You need to spend more time with yourself. This is for anyone that's listening to this video at this moment. You need more time with yourself, more quality time with yourself. You need to be able to rearrange your day to the best of your ability to spend more time with yourself. So if you only spend 5 minutes with yourself, I'm encouraging you to double that time to 10 minutes this week. If you only spend an hour with yourself, I'm encouraging you to spend 2 hours with yourself, right? Double the amount of time. And the reason why we're being asked to do this is because there's so much insight and information in the body that wants to be shared, and we are not spending enough time with ourselves. We actually spend too much time with other people all the time, taking in their energy, taking in their confusion, their frustration, their joy, their happiness, right? We begin to identify deeply and attach ourselves to people outside of us. And that becomes dangerous after a while because you don't know what is it you want. You don't know what it is that you want to experience, where it is that you want to go, what is it you want to feel, because you're so tapped in and tuned in. And if you identify as an educator, as a practitioner, as a healer, as a caregiver, you have a special, unique ability to give love and affection to others to the point where it allows them to grow. That is not something that everyone can do, though we all can access it. Not everyone has that ability to like access it as effortlessly as many of us do. And when you have that understanding of your superpower, do you see why you need more time by yourself? Because you need more time to cultivate that. So that way you're actually giving your love and not the things that have attached onto you. Let me know if that makes sense before we begin. Oh, before we dive in deeper, okay? Here we go. I love yin. Yeah, same, Matthew. I've just started it recently. It makes me feel so grateful. Yin is so good, and it's also a practice of spending quality time with yourself because you're really only doing like 5 or 6 moves in 30 minutes. It's really not like vinyasa where there's like this repetition of a big flow. It's very slow and intimate because it's opening up the body, opening up the energy so that you can get to know yourself better. It's a really beautiful practice for that. Okay, Matthew, what's the difference between yin yoga? I've been doing somatic yoga lately. Probably just getting to sit in the poses for so long, like pushing myself in that way. Yes, yeah. Yin yoga and restorative yoga, you're in your poses longer. Somatic yoga, I'm not 100% sure about. I just know that for me, the term somatic means like in the body, like working with the body. And, you know, there's this misconception of yoga that yoga is only the asanas, right? The poses that we do when yoga has like 8 limbs to it. There's so much more to yoga. Meditation is a part of yoga. Um, so sometimes like it's really tricky when we start to like rename things. Especially in the Western world, we love to like switch something up and do like a goat yoga or like a whatever type of yoga, right? A wine yoga, things that when you understand, you study yoga, they don't correlate at all. So I'm not 100% sure, but I do know for yin and restorative, it's really about spending more time with the body and different poses that release stagnant energy. That's my understanding of it from my training. Okay. Let me know if that makes sense and if that helps you. Hi, Dawn. I saw your name somewhere. I'm just saying hi. There we go. Probably, yes, yes, yes. Excellent point. We can become more in touch with others' feelings than our own. Yeah, and that becomes dangerous, right? Like, then you're like, wait, am I upset? Or is it because this person that I love so dearly is upset and now I'm taking on that anger, right? Which is, it's appropriate to do. It's not appropriate to carry it forever though, right? Because we are here to help lift each other's load. That is the purpose of relating to someone, right? Having that ship with somebody, relationship, right? It's important for us to carry each other's load. However, I'm not supposed to keep that on me for forever, right? I'm supposed to alleviate it for you and then do my work, do my practice to alleviate it for me, especially when you're in the title of thought leader, caregiver, educator, practitioner. You have this authority and hopefully a skill set that you've been practicing, right, to do so. But you're not meant to carry it all the time. Like, you also need to put that down. And the only time you get to put that down and reevaluate what happened and how you feel about it is when you take time for yourself. Okay? Hi, Dina. Good morning. Can you repeat what you were just sharing, please? Yes, to spend more time with yourself. Super important. And we're going to talk about why, like, when it comes to rushing and what we do, because that's chaotic too. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. Okay, this is such a theme with me lately. I'm having one of those months without a lot of breathing space between things. Got you. I need to set more boundaries with myself and others. Yes, yes, yes. And remember that boundaries are for you to feel safe. They're less about other people and more about you feeling safe. Okay? Please make sure that we know that. Um, there we go. I had a day like that yesterday, getting back inside myself. Good, Jack. Love to hear that. Michelle, somatic poses that are specific to release particular emotions. Yeah, so again, my understanding of somatic is like in the body. It's the same thing with asanas. Like, there are certain poses in asana, like if you're doing frog, right? It's opening up the hips. The purpose of that is to release stagnant energy that's there, like emotional stagnant energy. Things like anger, grief is stored here. So when you're doing the frog pose and you're opening up your hips like that, naturally the response your body will have is to release that emotion. So for me, yoga asana poses are inherently somatic. I think maybe it's a new word and it's a buzzword, so we attach it to there, but and it's already doing that, right? When we're doing savasana, we're invoking the energy of surrender, of letting go. That's why a lot of people tend to cry in that pose, because they're finally feeling a sense of relief, right? Each pose is supposed to activate some type of emotional response. But if we are only doing it to kind of strengthen our body, you know, as more of a workout, it's very easy for us to think that we're not doing that, right? If we're only like in a vinyasa flow all the time, that's meant to get the energy flowing together, right? Pulling all the chakras together, making the energy flow. But that's not the only way to do it, right? You're supposed to have an emotional release with yoga, because yoga is the last, asanas are the last limb of yoga. It's the last thing you're supposed to be doing. And when you get there, all the work you've been doing before with the self-reflection, right? With the meditation, you get there and you do it, and it's beautiful, right? If I'm not mistaken, because now I'm thinking it might be meditation as the last limb. I haven't studied yoga in a very long time. It's been like 2 years. It might actually be meditation. Because I know you move the body and then you meditate, and it's easier for people to sit in their meditation longer. Yeah. I went to 2 yoga schools and they taught things differently. So it's one of the two, but there are 8 limbs, and I will definitely get that information clarified for you, Michelle, okay? Because I actually want to know myself too. Okay, let me see. Zahida, how are you? Hi, Monique. Hi. I am more probably just happy I finally fell in love with yoga again. I know, right? Dina, hello. It's always nice when you get back to something that you once loved. Like, oh man, it's been a while since I've been doing this. This feels good, you know? And I think maybe that's also why we intuitively take breaks, you know, to kind of usher in that space to come back to and be like, oh, man, why did I stop? I love this. And you probably stopped because you were falling out of love with it, right? And you need something else to pull your attention. And I get to come back to it, right? That's like me with card reading. Like, there'll be months where I'm not reading. And then all of a sudden I pick up my deck and I'm like, let me read something. And I'm like, oh my God, I love this so much. Why don't I do it more? We fall in and out, we ebb and we flow. So I love that you're back into a space where you are finding that love for yoga again. That's really wonderful, Matthew. That actually brings me a smile to my face. Thank you. Let's see. Came to this intention for more time for just me in my therapy session this week. Michelle, look at the alignment. Oh my gosh. You're one of the people that are very, very, very tapped in when we talk. Even when we have direct messages, you're very, very tapped in. Your intuition is very strong. It wasn't until I said all of what I was doing out loud that I realized I was doing everything for everyone else. Yeah, and sometimes that freaking happens, right? We need a moment of reflection, a safe space to be like, when's the last time I did something that's just for me? And you know, we get really sophisticated in our self sabotage too as practitioners, where we'll like throw in, like, oh, but I also had fun. It's like, but was that for you? You know, like when I do things for my niece or my nephew, it is fun for me, right? It is so nourishing, but it also is mainly for them, right? Like I'm playing in a water park for you because that may not be my initial go to. And it can make us feel like we are doing things for ourselves when in fact, like this is not, it's not a self centered act, right? I know I'm saying that word, it's gonna be like a very triggering thing, but like it should be self centered, right? Like this is your life. Maybe not every single moment of every day, but like, yeah, most of your time should be centered around the person that's living the life. No one else is living your life. And if you are not focused on living your life, who is focused on living your life? Like when you really think about it, who am I giving this authority and ownership to if I'm not taking it for myself when it comes to my life? If I'm so worried about how other people living their lives, are those people worried about living their lives? This is how we begin to understand where our energy is going to. Because we can care deeply for other people's lives and they don't care that deeply for their own lives. And now you're misusing your energy because your energy could be going back into allowing your life to be fruitful and soft and kind and all these beautiful things. And you're giving that energy away to someone that's not willing to give it to themselves, from themselves. That becomes super unhealthy and dangerous. And it becomes a bit of a like a siphoning of energy, right? This is kind of also how we inherently create like energy vampires and they're unaware of it because it's like, well, you always give me your energy. And now all of a sudden, because you become aware of it, now you're making me seem like I'm this bad person. But 9 times out of 10, we initiated that contact of like, hey, I have so much love and energy to give. You can just take it from me. And then we become aware. We're like, why would you take that much energy from me? And we forget that we set that invitation out, whether it be through our energy, right, of us attracting that person, and wanting to fix them, wanting to keep them in a safe space. There's so many different titles for that. But ultimately, we initiate those things and say, hey, there's something about me that just I want to give this to you. Whether it's because I feel like I have an abundance of it, or maybe because I don't feel like I'm worthy of giving it to myself, and maybe you'll do better with my energy. There could be so many underlying things that we do. But once we become aware of it, consciously aware of like I'm giving my energy away to all the different spaces and people, and I'm not giving it to myself, we then get to start that path of reclaiming our energy in that way, right? And I don't really enjoy using the word reclaiming energy. I know it sounds very powerful, and I know that maybe there's a time and space in your journey for it. I'm a big believer that we are infinite. I literally have it tattooed on my hand. We are endlessly in connection with source. So I'm very much a person of if I've given you something, you can keep it. I don't need it back. For so many, I don't need it back. I don't need it back. I actually don't want it back. I'm a creator. I'll just create more energy for myself. And now that I'm aware that's what I'm doing, I'll make sure that that energy is of quality and that it's for me. So whatever I gave you, that's for you. I think that's also why it's easier for me to move on from relationships that I've outgrown. And not to say that I don't mourn a relationship, but I don't, it doesn't, it's not like this over emotional experience for me, because I'm like, I know I showed up and I gave you the best love that I had access to at the time, and you can keep that. Will you get any more from me depending on the circumstances why we're like separating in our relationship? Maybe, maybe from a distance, right? Boundaries, or maybe not at all. And whatever you got is what you have. And I hope you make that work with whatever it is you have. But it also helps me to remember that for myself of like, okay, this is ending. Whatever I gave, be at peace with that. Don't be resentful or bitter about like, oh, I gave you so much of my love and my time and you didn't deserve it. I don't know that for sure. I feel like that because my ego is hurt. I don't know if they deserved it or not. Only they know if they deserved it or not. It's actually not my business anymore. Once my energy goes to you and you've accepted it, that's all you. I don't need that energy back. I don't want that energy back. I don't, it doesn't even make logical sense to me. And I know that it's a spiritual act, but calling energy back is almost the same as if I'm not whole and infinite as is. I'm always whole and infinite, even when I'm unaware, even when I forget. I'm always complete. Always. Even when I feel broken, I am broken open. Still complete. Just accessing a new version of myself. And I feel like we kind of forget that in the spiritual wellness world. And we're so adamant about taking things back from people. And for me, that feels misaligned. Okay. Catch up, catch up. Yes, Michelle. I used to cry a lot in yoga. And I never really knew why, but this makes so much sense. Yeah, you were releasing. You were releasing. Are you also a yoga teacher, Lotus? I have my yoga training, but I am not a teacher. I did it for myself. So I never did the last step of certification is like to do videos and teach. I don't want to teach yoga. I wanted to learn yoga for myself. So if I were to do those videos and complete it, yes. But no. No. I used to be for kids though, but that certification lapsed a long time ago. Okay, let's see. Emotions would come out of nowhere. Yeah, they're supposed to. Like that's how you really know you're leaning into your yoga practice. Like if you're getting emotional, right? Or you're feeling some sense of relief, depending on where you're at in your emotional journey. Yoga does make me emotional afterwards. I like to say thank you to myself. Yes, Matthew, I love this. Here we go. I'm trying to catch up. After completing a session. Yes. Hi, Pamela. How are you? Kelly, how are you? Oh, you're in your new home finally, but oh, I know. Moving is so tiring. I'm happy you're here. Zahida, I missed my yoga class today to be with myself. I love that for you, Zahida. Yes, and connecting here. Thank you for being here with us. Yes. Who's taking care of me if not me? Yeah, who's taking care of you if not you? And we like to think it's other people, but like, yes and no, right? Like, my sisters take really good care of me, but like, when I think about it, if I just got to take care of myself and that also lightens the load for them so that they can focus on taking care of themselves, that just makes more sense to me, right? Like, inherently, I'm gonna know what's best for me more than even like my sisters who really know me inside out would be able to do. Because we have different skill sets, we have different energy levels and things like that. I'd much rather them use their energy to take care of themselves. And then whatever excess and extra we have, we just get to love on each other, as opposed to taking on that responsibility of keeping my sister whole. When in fact, that's not even something I'm actually able to do. Like that's not in my job description at all. Do you know what I mean? So even people that love you the deepest, love you the truest, it's not their responsibility to keep you together, to keep you focused on yourself. That's your job. And when we start to give up our responsibility, and our job to other people, it creates an imbalance. These are questions that I often ask myself as to why the relationships that I have are not as rocky as they were when I was younger. And the truth is that a lot of us in our relationships, the ones that I have currently, we're minding our business. If you need me, you can call me and I will be there. Other than that, I'm trusting you to live out your life the way that you need to. I trust that. And I trust in myself to know that if I'm taking really good care of myself, if for whatever reason you may need me, right? Be it you're in crisis or you're in transformation or whatever the case is, I am taking such good care of myself that I'll always have extra to give to you to support you. That is a win-win mentality for me, right? I trust that you're going to take care of your side of the street. I'm going to take care of mine, right? And then we'll like dance and party in the middle while both our sides are clean. That makes more sense to me than me rushing to clean up my side of the street to the best of my ability, right? And then running over to your side, help you clean up your side. There needs to be a level of trust in ourselves and trust in our loved ones that they're going to take care of themselves, even if we think that they're incapable. I can't tell you how many times I like would sit and worry about my loved ones because I'm like, oh my God, like they don't have the training that I have. Like, what if she gets triggered? And then I have to remind myself, first and foremost, girl, they have their own ancestors, and y'all actually share similar ancestors. That's number one. They have their own angels, spirit guides, spirit animals. They're tapped into their own source of divinity. It's not just you that's gonna come and save them. Like, dude, chill. They're good. They're fine. Even if you see them maybe going through a hardship or struggling, sometimes they need that to stretch and to grow. And if you're always there to soothe every discomfort that they have, how will they ever understand and know that they too are infinite, that they too are wise and ancient, and they have the capability to move forward in life? There's a lack of trust there that you have for your loved one if you're constantly trying to save them. Okay? Let me catch up. Oh my goodness, Trish, thank you for donation. I completely forgot to mention. This is a donation-based practice, so if you are able to donate, please do. This is how I pay my bills. This is how I have my livelihood, how I'm able to sit here and have the time to come and be with you all. So please and thank you. If you're unable to donate financially, that's completely understandable. If you could leave a rating or a review on any one of my tracks or join the Insight Timer group, Lotus Living, and tap with us daily, there's so many different ways for us to have the exchange. Even joining my email list is an amazing thing to do, and that's the link in my teacher profile bio on Insight Timer. You can join there and get weekly insights from me there. These are different ways that you can show up. You can share this live, you can share me on a different platform. There's so many ways to share. Okay? Okay. Thank you, Trish, so much. I appreciate that. Marquand, hello. Hello, hello. Okay, I'm catching up, y'all. Oh, where are we at? Michelle, I see your paragraph. I gotta get to the one right before it. Make sure I'm not missing on anybody. Okay, yes, I miss you. Okay, yes, yes, yes. I'm catching up. Sometimes having to give too much in a family is in family of origin. Yeah, as young people, exactly. And we carry those habits with us, right? As we get older, power and strength is within ourselves. Agreed, Matthew. Michelle, yep. Eventually, I crashed mom, educator, primary giver for my mom, taking care of a household, and then me. Yep. Yeah. When my priorities are in order, eventually I crash and the universe will bring me back to that lesson. I continue to need those reminders, apparently. We all do. We all do. That's part of us having this understanding of being a caregiver, right? Being an educator, being a practitioner. It kind of comes with the territory. But I feel like we are given these titles, or we accept these titles and the responsibilities that come with it, because ultimately it's supposed to be a reminder, like Michelle said. It's supposed to be a reminder to take care of yourself. We are supposed to destigmatize what it means to be a caregiver, right? Because we saw what it looked like when we were younger and how ineffective it was when people were constantly giving of themselves and draining themselves out, right? We all had this firsthand experience in some way, shape, or form. I don't know any caregiver, teacher, practitioner that has not had an intimate relationship where they saw someone wither away or lose their sense of sweetness or joy because they were constantly taking care of everybody else but themselves. Whether that means that they ended up getting physically ill, right, or having some type of mental illness. These are different things. These are a result of us literally pouring our energy out of ourselves to other people. There are consequences to that action. We witnessed that in some way, shape, or form, probably in our childhood or maybe, in our young adulthood. Maybe we saw it with ourselves. And then we had this calling to hold space. And in that calling was that reminder of take care of yourself first, right? The oxygen mask theory. put your oxygen mask on first, then on everyone else. And I love to use that analogy, especially when I'm working with my parents. Um, my teachers, practitioners, things like that, clients. And I ask them that question of what you'll do first. And they always say, I'll put on my kid first, of course, make sure my kid is good. I'm like, okay, cool. So now your child has oxygen, but you've now passed out. And now it's your child's responsibility to get you and themselves to safety. My camera is like a little, there we go. Does that make sense? And most times, because it sounds so like, sometimes you need a little bit of shock to wake people up to like how unnecessary that thought process is. And they're like, well, no, how are they going to do that? Exactly. This is what you're doing to your loved ones every time you don't take care of yourself. Especially when you know you have a gift, when you have a calling, when you have a knowing that you have this ability to care for others and you know you're good at it, right? But then you give that away, right? When in fact, had you put the oxygen mask on yourself first, even if, God forbid, your child were to pass out on that plane, you as an adult, as a fully realized person, as a person with these special capabilities and insights and knowingness, you're going to make sure that you and that child get to safety. Because ultimately, in the title and role of being a caregiver, being a parent, being a teacher, being an educator, your primary goal, intention is to make sure that the people that are in your care get to where they need to be safely. The only way that's possible if you yourself are able to get there. Does that make sense? I want to make sure that that makes sense. Okay? Let me know. There we go. Absolutely. That's the theme of our story time this month. I have the power. Yes, take back your personal power. It's such a freeing way of thinking about energy that you actually don't want or need it back. Yeah, I don't. Personally, I don't. I know there's other practitioners that teach that. I don't need my energy back. You can have that. Keep it. Which means it was probably used, in a good way at the time. That too, Luis. And then I also think about the fact of, let's say I gave you energy, right? And then we ended up misaligning, right? We ended up having some type of argument, we're no longer friends, whatever the case is. Why would I want that energy back? Why would I want energy back from somebody that I'm no longer aligned with? I don't know what you did with that energy. Sure, can I transmute it, cleanse it, all? But that just sounds like extra. I just keep it. Like, just keep it. Keep it for you. Do what you want with the energy. It's no longer mine. Totally can keep it. I have more. I'm not worried like I only have a certain amount of energy. If I don't have that energy, then I'm gonna like be depleted and I'm never gonna get it back. Like my brain does not work that way. I don't understand energy that way. I understand energy as an infinite thing, that it's everywhere. That if I really wanted to power up, I can go hug a tree and get better energy than me calling back my energy from someone that I misalign with. There's just simpler ways to do things. Okay? I love what you were saying, to let go of what you've already given. Yeah, not much point holding on. I don't see the point personally. Now, there are other practitioners that have a really great argument for calling back your energy because it'll help you feel empowered, things like that. And if that's where you're at in your journey, that you need to do that, then do what you need to do for your journey, right? I just don't see how that's beneficial to you in the long run. And I kind of feel like a lot of times people call back their energy from relationships that are outdated, from relationships that are no longer safe or healthy. They tend to have a bit of chaos in their lives when they call that energy back. It's not as empowering as they think, because you're calling your energy back from a chaotic place that it's been in for however long it's been in. So that means you're also calling that chaos onto your life. Most times when I hear clients, when they talk about calling their energy back, a few weeks later they're having a really hard time. And I'm just like, could be because you call back that energy that you really didn't need to call back. You just could let them keep it. And now we have to dissect and move through this chaos because that's what came along with it. Most times people are calling back their energy. They're not doing it in an intentional way to say, hey, the pureness, the essence of my energy, the very good of it, call that back. Maybe if you were doing that, I'd be okay with it. But most times when the practice is being taught, it's just saying all of my energy come back to me because I'm feeling depleted without it, which means that you already think that you're not whole, which means that you're already in a frequency that's not going to be aligned with you, because you are always whole. No matter what you go through, no matter type of trauma or tragedy, you are always whole. Even when you feel broken, you are just broken open. You are always whole, all the time. Always. That is a divine truth. It's something that we forget. Okay. Hi, Grand Rising Tasha. Did I say it right? Tashana. Hi. Okay, I'm catching up. Amy, Jim Rohn has a quote that says, I'll work on me for you if you work on you for me. Yeah, I like that one. That's really good. Yes. Trust you to live out your life. Yes. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Lotus, any advice for spending quality time with ourselves when we have a lot of anxiety? Yes. Which can come up in that space. Also, how to feel that time as sacred. Yeah. If you have a lot of anxiety with yourself, if you find that it's very hard to spend time alone with you, right? I would encourage you first and foremost to look into some sort of therapy, right? It could be somatic therapy. It could be trauma-informed therapy. I would prefer trauma-informed therapy, if I'm being honest, but I also understand the things are things. Or a healing modality to help you work through it to set up. So if you know, okay, I know like later on today, like around noon, I'm going to spend time alone with myself. Cool. Let me prepare for that. Maybe you do a tapping session. Maybe you do a meditation. Maybe you do something like some jumping up and down to get into the body, or laying on the floor to release any energy, to get comfortable back with yourself. The way that I interpret it energetically is that you've taken on so much energy, and being alone with it is giving you anxiety, right? Of like, I've taken on so many different personalities, identities, different tragedies, different experiences and stories. They all living in my body, and the thought of having to sit alone with all of that is terrifying. I don't want to have that experience. This is why we use healing modalities, or we work with professionals to help us alleviate that, so you can get to a space where you do feel safe enough to be alone with yourself. Because being alone with yourself is where you get your ultimate wisdom. Having solitude, not isolation, having solitude is so important on your journey. Being able to hear your own voice, not the voices of others, but hearing your intuition, that only comes from solitude. So use a healing modality. You guys know I'm going to always refer to EFT because I think it is the most practical and the most efficient way to get into that habit, right? Of releasing the energy that's trapped in the body, that's causing you to feel anxious, that's trapped in the mind, that's causing you to feel anxious. Use the EFT to move through that. Breathe through the moments of anxiety. Use your breath. Your breath is the life force. It's the thing that keeps you alive. Without your breath, you're not living. That's how powerful it is. We always underestimate our breath, which is wild. But breathing correctly can change your experience with any heavy emotion. So you can just focus on breathing correctly, and that will help you as you begin to have more intimacy alone with yourself. Okay? Let me know if that helps, Mel. We don't have to supervise everyone's lives. We really don't, Jack. And to be quite honest, I don't know if I'm qualified to do that. You know, like, sometimes I barely think I'm qualified to do it for my own life, let alone for somebody else's. Like, no, thank you. Too much responsibility. Jack, it's hard to let go of those kinds of relationships. Yes. Sending light and love. Jack, I missed whatever comment that was in response to, but I'm happy that Michelle didn't. Thank you, Michelle. I miss yoga. We'll start back very soon. I always felt so calm doing it. Yes, Kelly, Matthew, things seem to flow pretty well when I focus in on myself rather than on other people and places and people, person, or places. Yeah, same. When I focus in on me, I'm just like, life is not this hard. It's like an instant boost, right? For me, where I'm like, damn, life is actually not as chaotic as I thought it was. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna be okay. That is always what comes up for me when I focus in on myself. Even yesterday, as I was releasing the grief and the heaviness from the past week, and I'm sitting there like, If I spend more time with myself, I become more patient with myself. As I become more patient with myself, I become more in tune with myself. As I become more in tune with myself, I hear my intuition clearer. As I hear my intuition clearer, that stress and anxiety, that worry of safetyness is dissolving because I know my intuition is going to lead me to where it is that I need to be. It's going to tell me the things that I need to do. Remember that we are a divine entity having a human experience. Your body's a bit of an antenna. So when we take really good care of our bodies, we get to hear those messages better too. And then I remind myself, girl, you're divine. You're like an entity, right? Even the physical body is made up of everything that stars are made up of. Like we are cosmic beings, right? And you remember those things. You come back to yourself, and it's just like, oh, this is not super hard. There are hard times, but if I just refocus back on myself, it's not as hard as I thought it was. Cool, 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 right? Good to know. Hi, Michelle. Okay, I'm catching up. Let's see. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Mom was empty by the time I was born, very sad, and it helped me not to do the same. Yeah, we all have an intimate relationship in that way. Matthew saying when I focus on meditation, journaling, yoga on the daily, life is good. Return to that again this week. Yes, Michelle. Keep me posted. Lady, how are you? You are so dead on about caring for others and not self. I experienced it caring for my daughter through all her health problems, then transplant. I learned a learned things about myself I needed. Exactly. Hi, Monique. I feel like I'm getting a lot better at caring for other people. Yeah, especially when you take care of yourself. Grand Rising, Tashana, being outdoors, sun, rain, grounding, tree hugging. Yes, is the best way for me to calm my energy back. Yes, Monique, I agree. I love that. I am whole. Exactly. Wow, this makes so much sense. Tashana, I'm so happy. Yay, sorry, Jack. And yes, I am seeing lessons with my mom now. Yes. Hi, Michelle. You're fine. You're on time. Kundalini breathing has been very helpful for working through those anxious moments. Yes, they have. Michelle, how long have you been doing Kundalini? I always suggest for people that are new to Kundalini, and Michelle, it doesn't sound like you are, because if you're talking about Kundalini breath, I don't think you are, but I just wanted to ask. But if you're looking to do a practice, Kundalini yoga is something I would suggest to do with a practitioner, right? I'm fortunate enough to have a girlfriend that's like a Kundalini teacher. But I would always suggest that because Kundalini is like waking up the serpent energy that's within us, right? In our root and sacral chakra, and bringing it up to realign the other five primary chakras, which is a beautiful concept. But I have found that a lot of people do this when they're not grounded, when they haven't spent enough time with themselves, and then it's like waking up all this dormant energy that they were unaware of, and it could be super overwhelming for them. So if you choose to do Kundalini, I would encourage you to do it with a practitioner you have access to, someone you can actually contact personally. I started Kundalini when I was like 18, and it was a wild experience. Luckily, I had mentors in my life that were able to walk me through it, but I wish I would have started with a teacher as opposed to doing it like on YouTube or, on different platforms. So please make sure you have access to a teacher you can actually contact, because it can be very overwhelming to realize how powerful you are. And there's so many different things that come up when you have that realization of like, I have a lot of authority over my life and I have not been living the life that I wanted to live. There's just so much that can come up from that. So just make sure that if you're doing something, that, because Kundalini is very sacred, I would like to say, like just have somebody you can tap into. Okay. Yeah, exactly, Michelle. Okay, so that makes my point. So you have an intimate relationship with it. Like I could do Kundalini again and be okay because I'm aware of what's going to happen. But if it's like my first time, I wouldn't suggest that to somebody. I would tell them to like get a teacher, like get a professional, because witnessing that amount of power is alarming for a lot of people, right? Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, Sarjak. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, Kelly. My parents taught a lot by counterexample. That is very valuable for me to say. Yes, probably just me being nervous when I'm focusing on other things. Yeah, or you trying to like not learn the lesson, right? I think we tend to focus on other people and other things when we are self-sabotaging. Hi, Goddess Mo. When we're just like, I don't really want to focus on me. I don't really want to do the work. So I'm going to like focus on other people. This person really needs me. Let me go over there and help them. Like, that's also self-sabotage. It's like a righteous way of being, of sabotaging yourself. Like, no, I was helping someone else. Why couldn't help me? And it's like, now, does that make sense? No. You always should have time to help yourself. If you have time to help somebody else, you definitely have time to help yourself. You're just not giving yourself that time. That's time for you. There should be no reason why you are able to help other people and not help yourself. Your energy is literally moving backwards. It is not benefiting you, which ultimately means it's actually not benefiting the people you gave it to. Does that make sense? Catching up. Good morning, David. Amy is a caregiver. I'm learning to have compassion without taking on other people's problems. Yes, Amy. I've been doing Kundalini breathing with a practitioner. Yep, Michelle. Always knowing the things that makes me so happy. Okay, I try to stay focused on the present. Yeah, and that's a task in itself. Like, that requires so much energy on its own. Amy, that is very valuable to learn. Haven't gotten there just yet. I've been finding the less I procrastinate, the better. Same. Procrastination is also part of self-sabotage. What if you isolated yourself so much now no one invites you anywhere anymore? And this is why we say solitude and not isolation, right? Isolation is literally saying it gives off an energy of like, I don't want anyone around me because I don't feel safe around y'all. As opposed to solitude is, as much as I love all of you, I need to focus in on myself. Do you see how that difference is? One's rejecting other people, the other one is accepting self. That's the difference between isolation and solitude, right? So if you find that you have been isolating yourself, there are different ways. It depends on if you actually want to keep those relationships. I actually have in my new podcast season that's coming out, it actually starts in like 2 weeks. I have a whole entire episode on rebuilding friendships and relationships, especially when you've come out of an isolating period, because it does happen, right? The first thing I would do is acknowledge the role you played in that isolation, which it sounds like you're doing, and then reaching out and letting them know, hey, I isolated myself. Definitely wasn't cool of me to do at all, but I'm in a better headspace mentally, emotionally, and I would love to see if it's a possibility for us to rekindle our relationship. And then being open to the fact that they don't have to say yes to you because they could have felt abandoned by you, isolating yourself, whatever the case is, right? That's completely up to them. You're just posing the question. Once you pose that question, you gotta step back and let things happen. I think a lot of times we get upset of like, I was vulnerable and you didn't accept my vulnerability. They don't have to. That's they don't have to do that, right? They already accepted the isolation that was kind of forced on them. So they don't have to accept you wanted to come back. However, what I do find is that in relationships that are, still aligned, they'll understand that. Some people might hold your feet to the fire and be like, you really hurt my feelings when you disappeared. Did not like that at all. Felt like we didn't have a real friendship. And that's why I stopped inviting you or stopped talking to you. That's a valid response. Some people are like, myself, where I'm just like, shit happens. I'm glad you're okay. We're cool. I never fault anybody when they kind of like disappear. But I also know that I was like that when I was younger, where I just needed time and space and it had nothing to do with the other person and more about me. But it tends to be when we isolate ourselves that we trigger other people's insecurities. Now, if I need time to myself, I'm sending out like a cute little mass text of like, hey guys, I need time alone. My location is on for those that need it. And, like, I'll be back soon. And people are very loving and responsive, like, thanks for the heads up, wishing you well. If you need anything, let me know. You also get a lot more support when you utilize solitude as opposed to isolating yourself. So that would be my suggestion for you. Be honest and tell them the truth and be prepared for them to either accept that or to deny you. If they deny you, that's fine. That's also a clear understanding that that relationship no longer is of benefit to either one of you. Because if it was, y'all would find a way to make it work, right? So if they end up being like, no, absolutely not, cool. I'm glad that I was able to let you know it was not you. It was actually me. And that's that. And you can present it in that way of whether you accept it or not. I just wanted you to know what it was because I'm realizing that I was super detached and I don't want you to think that it was you, right? Does that make sense? I'm catching up, y'all. Okay, right to self-sabotage. Yes, Jack, I'm guilty of that more than I would like it to be. I've been caring for myself for 30 days straight in meditation, and now I'm able to see my triggers. Yes, Marquand. Something came up yesterday. I was able to see and call it out. With family, no longer that person who is responsible for their care, and I will no longer accept the things from them that are hurting. Yes, when I called them out, they asked me for a solution. I don't have one. I had to exit. Yes. And I'm also going to speak to the fact of, again, right? We probably were playing that responsibility role a little too heavy, especially when they ask us for a solution. That's a clear sign that we've overextended our role, where they themselves can't come up with it for themselves, right? They're just like, oh, well, you normally have the answer, so just tell me what to do and I'll make it right. That's a clear sign that you've overextended your energy, right? And letting them know that too, like, hey, I overextended my energy because you're unable to come up with a solution on your own, and you're definitely capable of it. So I hope that you're able to find that answer that you need in your journey. I just cannot provide that for you anymore, right? There are ways to communicate these things. It's uncomfortable, but there are ways. Okay, Tashana, whatever happens, happens. It's meant to be. They will come back. Exactly, Matthew. Also, very much que sera, right? Amy can relate. My therapist helped me to visualize someone trying to hand me literal poop. Right, Michelle, that's good. I can have compassion without accepting the literal poop. Yes, by physically putting my hands behind my back. That's hilarious, but I love that. Thank you for reminding me of that lesson. That's so good. Thank you for sharing that. Like, I love that visual because even as I'm thinking about it, I'm like, oh no, I would never do that. Right? I would never do that. Like, if someone's handing me like a literal shitty idea or, you know, a shitty experience, I would never be like, oh yeah, sure. Thanks. Never would do that. So I love that visualization, Michelle. Thank you. That was so good. That was so good. Marquand, amazing. Sounds like so much growth. Agree. Marquand that sounds hard. Good for you, focusing on you. Yes. Yes, that Michelle, that literally is very clarifying. Agreed, Jack. That's such a good example. Savannah, hi. You're welcome. Takes time to understand things sometimes. Yes. Kelly, yep. I see your poop. I smell your poop. I'm sorry you have that much poop. This is cracking me up. But I don't want it. Thanks. Oh, I'm crying. This is so funny. Some relationships are good or for a good time and run their course, and that's okay. Exactly. That was a tough lesson for me to learn. Thank you so much. You're so welcome, Tashana. Overextended the energy. Yes, turning energy on me. Exactly. Yes, yes, yes. Lotus, you don't accept literal shit. I do not. No. No type of BS. I'm not. I've never been good at that. I tend to call it out often. I'm like, oh, that sounds like BS. That sounds like that's not true. And people are like, oh, this is my truth. I'm like, is it though? I don't know. It kind of feels like it's not. I think that also is like the other side of being deeply intuitive. Like, you see things before people realize that that's what they're going through. And that's another story for another day. We'll talk about how you can do that, because really and truly, it should be a mind your business unless you're asked. And a lot of times we kind of go into savior complex mode and like want to help people out so badly. But sometimes people want their house on fire. Sometimes people want their house to burn because they want to start from anew. And when you come there with a water hose trying to, you know, quell the fire, they're like, dude, I set the fire. And now I have a half burned home because you thought you were saving me. Does that make sense? Like, I didn't ask you to do that. So, unless someone is literally saying, hey, Lotus, my house is on fire, can you help me? Then, yeah. Have I watched plenty of people's homes just like burn? And this is, again, this is metaphorically. I'm talking about physically in real life, but I want to use that metaphor for you to really see it. Have I had that happen where I'm like, wow, your house is on fire? Like, they're talking to me about what's going on in their life. I'm like, yeah, everything is, I see the flames. But if they're not like, hey, help me with those flames, I have to understand that I need to step back. I'm not going to take on a responsibility for someone that didn't ask that of me, because now I'm crossing their boundaries that they may not even be aware of, right? And then sometimes you have it very rare, like, you saw that happen, you didn't tell me. It's like, you didn't know your house was on fire? There's more of a problem there than me telling you that, right? Like, that you should have known that your house was on fire. That means you're very detached from your livelihood and your life and your spirit to not know that, like, you know, you're having that moment. That's That's also not my job to make that clear for you. That should be clear for you, right? Okay, catching up, and then we'll get into the reading. Tough lesson to learn. Yes, yes, yes. Going through my solitude season. Love this for you, Savannah. But haven't really explained myself to a couple of friends, mainly because I don't want to have to explain myself when um, I myself am not entirely sure how to explain the season I'm going through. I would say exactly that, right? It's that's why I sent out a text message, okay? But that's me. That may not be the best thing to do. Maybe it's a conversation, but you can start the conversation as in, "Hey, this is me letting you know. I'm letting you know. I just need like 2 minutes to say what I need to say before any type of real conversation commences, right? I'm calling to make a statement, to make you aware. I find myself going through a season of solitude. I don't really understand as to why or how long it's going to be, but I also know that you mean a lot to me, and I don't want you to think that I've abandoned you or that I've just disappeared. So that's why I'm communicating it to you. Again, I do not have any answers for your questions. If and when I do, and you still want to hear those answers, I'm willing to share them. But in this moment, if you ask me any questions, I will not have answers for you. Do we understand each other? Right? Because the questions are like, girl, you okay? You safe? What's going on? Are you sad? Are you depressed? Like they're worried, right? But if you start off with saying, I don't know why, but I also know that I'm okay or that I will be okay. Some people are still gonna ask questions, and you can sit there and let them know, I don't have an answer to that. I don't have an answer to that. I do not know. The questions are overwhelming me, and I need to take time to myself. That's it. Now, however else they respond after that conversation, again, is not your business. That's not your what can you do about that? You literally let them know, babes, I'm taking time away from myself because I need time to get clear on who I am. I can't give you enough information. I just want you to know that I'm safe. If that is not enough for your friend or your loved one, they'll have to sort the rest of that out. That's a responsible response, right? Of, hey, you're aware that I won't be around. As soon as I'm able to come back, and if I have answers, I got you. But the truth is, I might not have answers when I come back, right? Now, the only thing I would add on to that is that if you decide during that solitude that you're not going to return to that dynamic, to let them know that, because then you are still abandoning them. Okay? Matthew, I understand. I found that this can cause my anxiety, but I do it every time. So, insight, we worry for days about before the assignment is due or the project is due. Just thinking about it, I'm sending you good energy for both of us to be able to sit down and plan and focus at a time. I love that, Marquand. I feel you, Savannah. I sort of slid back from folk so I can focus on myself and figure out who I am. I don't know who I am. Who am I offering to people? That was my headspace, right, Michelle? I love this. Hi, Tamiko. How are you? I don't have answers. Yes, I think I may use that. I usually say I gotta grab, I got grabbed by a spaceship. You know, and if people know you like that, they might actually enjoy that, right? But yeah, be honest. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't have the answers. Like, you know? We can practice honesty in those simple moments. It's kind of like when people ask you like how you're feeling and you always say I'm fine and you're not, you're literally lying. And this is an opportunity for you to like tell the truth. Like, actually, I'm in shambles. And it helps you to build up the courage to tell the truth in what you're feeling in the moment, as opposed to giving a politically correct answer. If someone's taking the time out to ask you a question, you should answer it. If you do not have the answers, just tell them I do not have the answers. And they might be like, what do you mean you don't have the answers? How come you don't have the answers? If I had the answers, I'd be able to let you know why. But I don't, because I don't have the answers. So, you know, you being upset is totally valid. Totally valid. Still don't have the answers though. And be okay with being uncomfortable. That's probably one thing that I really enjoy a lot about myself, is that I'm okay with being uncomfortable. You know, the awkward silence. I'm just like, I'll just let it be silent. Because in the silence, there is wisdom. In the pause, there is power. I don't have to always be communicating. Sometimes in the silence, they might come to a realization for themselves. Like, damn, I actually went through that before too. That makes sense. And they might change their entire response to you, be like, you know what? No, I get it. But if you're in the silence and you're like, well, actually, let me, you don't give anyone time to process what you both talked about, which is probably freaking heavy. Let the silence be there. It's cool. Like, no one's gonna die because you didn't talk about something in that exact moment. You know? I usually say, yes, I love that, Jack. That's funny. Hey, I'm in shambles. How are you doing? I'm very honest. Like, when people ask me how I'm feeling, I'm telling the truth. If I actually am not feeling great. It's so funny. One of my girlfriends, we were talking on Friday, and she was just like, hey, babe, how are you? And I was like, honestly, it was a shitty week. Did not enjoy it at all. There was a lot of pain. And I told her about it, and I was like, oh, wow. I just realized I kind of just told you everything. And then I'm like, I'm sorry. And she was like, didn't I ask you how you were doing? I was like, yeah. And she was like, so you answered the question, now you're apologizing? I'm like, right, right. She's like, yeah, I asked you. So you told me. I wouldn't want you to tell me that you were fine when you're not, because then how can I be your friend? How can I love you? And I'm like, right, correct, right? Friendships like that are just creme de la creme. But yeah, we say that to say that. In silence, there's wisdom. There's so much wisdom. Be okay with the silence when it comes up. It's weird. You probably don't want to laugh, or you might feel super anxious. Like, oh my God, what are they thinking in their head? You're never going to know unless they tell you. So, like, why are you thinking about that? You know, in the silence, if you start to freak out in the pause, take some deep breaths. Activate your parasympathetic system. Push your belly out as much as you can when you take that deep inhale. That will naturally override the anxiety that you're having and allow the body to feel relaxed. There are ways to like hijack your body to help you move through heavier feelings. That's why when people are anxious, they feel it in their chest and they're breathing from here, like, right, the hyperventilation. That's a clear sign that your body is not relaxed and does not feel safe. And the best way to change that is to lay on the floor for relief and then to take a nice deep inhale. And you probably will end up crying afterwards, but it's because you just held so much here in your heart space. It's like you're suffocating your heart with your energy. It's a very crazy feeling, right? Breathe through it. I know it sounds cute, like, oh, Lotus was saying breathe through it, drink water. But again, the simplest of things are the most impactful. I promise you, you're going to get the same result every single time you take 3 deep breaths. Every single time. I don't care how angry you are. I've been livid, full of rage, okay? And I've taken 3 deep breaths, and maybe I'm just angry. And I take some more breaths. I'm like, okay. Whew. All right, I was going to literally lose my mind, and now I'm back in my body, right? Does not matter how distraught you are. These things are ancient. Think of them as ancient technologies. Breath, drinking water, staying hydrated, right? Getting enough sleep, eating the correct foods. Ancient technology that your body will always honor no matter what. No matter what. Your body's going to honor them because because they've been working for hundreds and thousands of years. You're not the first person to take a deep breath, right? So if you know that, tap into that understanding of like, there were people before me that used their breath as a powerful way to move through a very hard moment. Why would I minimize my breath and say it doesn't work? Why would I limit my power? Why would I limit my connection to this ancestral technology when I know for a fact I freaking need it? Use it. Drink the water, right? Do the tapping, do the meditation. These are things that will always help you. There are thousands upon millions of people who use these technologies, who have used them for decades, for days, for weeks, for months, for lifetimes. They work, okay? Thank you, Tamiko, for your donation. I appreciate this. Thank you. Do you mean like some sort of opening a can of worms? For which one? For the Kundalini comment? Matthew, let me know what you mean. Enjoying your strength, yes. Lotus, I think you must get a percentage of every sip of water. If only. If I get like a water deal, guys, I'll be so excited. I literally promote water all the time. Like all the time. It's such a good, I mean, all the elements are amazing. And we'll probably talk about elemental magic at some point in time. But like water is like, it's clutch. It's really good if you're like an emotional person. Drink water. Okay? Jude, thank you for your donation. Louise, thank you for your donation. Okay, let's do this card reading, y'all. Because I know that after like the 30-minute timeline, the hour 30 minutes, like the whatever, the signal gets kind of crazy. So I want to make sure we are within that time frame. So as I'm doing this, I want you to take a nice deep inhale, exhale, right? I want you to place your hand over your heart, preferably your left hand, your hand of receiving. Nice deep inhale, exhale, and whatever intention, whatever you need clarity on, bring it to the forefront of your mind. And then we're going to use a 3-card pull to give you some insight, right, on how you can move with your energy throughout this week. Okay? Oh, okay, that's one. Water is my favorite non-alcoholic beverage. I love water. I love it so much. Water is clutch. It is. I love water. I think you were talking about talking to your friend and then feeling bad about spilling bad news about your week or something like that. And it made me think of like, oh, yeah, exactly. Like opening a can of worms. Matthew, that's exactly how I felt when I became conscious of like, oh, snap, I've just been talking about my problems. Like, did you want that? Yeah, I was just kind of like, oh, man, my bad. But again, you have healthy relationships where they tell you like, hey, babes, that's exactly what I wanted you to do. I wanted you to tell me. And if you have a friendship where that person is like, I just needed to, like, you gave me too much information, you know, you might want to like reevaluate that. Make sure that you weren't trauma dumping, because that could also be it, right? That's why I always suggest asking yourself, dear God, asking yourself those questions first. Journaling, audio journaling, again, another ancestral technology that works, documenting your life, because then you're not trauma dumping, right? I do take time out. And the truth is, when I think about it, I hadn't journaled that day. I need you to give me one card. Thank you. I didn't journal that day. And that probably explains why I was a bit more long-winded too. Because when you journal or you write your things down or you like video diary, whatever the case is, you're actually then giving the people in your life a bit of the highlights because you've been able to process a bit, right? Same like when you're sitting with a therapist. Okay, thank you. The information that you get from that session, then you're able to relay it to them as opposed to telling them the entire story that you just told your therapist, right? Yes, I do talk to my card decks. Because let me tell you something. Sometimes they do what they want. When I have like my personal readings, and I'm like, okay, so it's a 5-card pull, and they're like 7, 8 cards. I'm like, absolutely not. This is not what we agreed to at all. But a lot of times too, it's like they have more information to give. And I'm just like, look, we got to honor the time frame that we're in. Yes, I talk to my card decks. I talk to my flowers. I talk to my teas. Yes. I definitely do. For sure. Sierra, hi. Video journaling. I've never even thought of that. Yeah. Video journaling, audio journaling, doing your voice notes. I have tons of voice notes of me just talking to myself. When I get an idea, when I need to like let go of something and I can't write fast enough, I will pull up my audio notes. I can even like show you guys. I'm not going to play them, but I'll show you like how many of them I have. Like, let's see if you guys can see. Like, oop, there we go. Constantly. Like, I have a lot. And that's just one phone. Okay, these are different ways that you can connect to yourself. So yeah, do a video journal if writing is annoying to you or you're not interested in it. Audio journal. I use my Snapchat as a journal, like a visual diary of like different things that I enjoy or moments in my life. Like, it's for me. People don't see my Snapchat, but like then when I go through it and they give me the reminders of like, last year this time you did this, it's nice to see a visual representation of me living my life, right? Okay, let's see. I feel that sometimes I'm shuffling for days before one pops out. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I have these conversations of like, dude, where are we going with this? Why do we need 7 cards for this? Like, or then like when there's double the cards, I'm like, this is the same card. Why would you do this? Yeah, we have moments. We have moments. We have moments. Yeah. Yeah, I speak to everything. I do. I do. It's important, you know? People some people are freaked out by it. Oh, we have a lot of full moon energy. Okay. Okay. Oh, wow, it's a lot of full moon energy. All right, things are coming to a completion. Things are being illuminated. All right, first and foremost, we have a full moon. Surrender to the divine, okay? There we go. That's so pretty, right? first and foremost, for this wonderful week that we have coming up, you need to surrender. Oh my goodness. How surprising. This is something that we are constantly talking about. You need to surrender. Surrender whatever type of responsibility, whatever type of weight you've added onto your life. It's time to give it to your source, to your God, whoever you call on to in your time of need. Give it to them. You're literally at the completion of this cycle. Don't miss out on this opportunity to close out the cycle because you want to try to keep holding on to unnecessary weight. It's not necessary at all. Surrender. Have faith in your source, right? There's a saying from Gabrielle Bernstein that I don't want to mess it up, but it goes along the lines of, if you are stressed out and worried, it's because you are relying on yourself. But when you are relying on source, all of that worry, it dissolves. It's a clear sign that you're only using what you have surface access to. Because when you really start to understand your connection to source, the sense of worry, the sense of responsibility, it doesn't feel as heavy or as consuming anymore. Because you remember, I am a spiritual being having a physical experience, having a human experience. My humanity is a part of me. It's not the only thing that I have access to, right? So surrender to the divine this week. And that's going to look very different for each person. Maybe it's a call back to the arts. Maybe it's a call back to self-care. Maybe it's a call back to nature. These are all different symbols, if you will, of surrendering, of divine source, right? When you're in your creative flow, you've surrendered to the flow. You're allowing yourself to create, which is a divine act. When you go into nature, whether you want to or not, again, another ancestral technology, you go into nature, whether you like to or not, you can spend 5 minutes there and come out, you're going to feel better. You're going to feel lighter because you're surrendering, whether you want to or not. So maybe it's going back into nature, right? Maybe it's self-care, taking care of your physical vessel. When's the last time that you've done like a really nice body scrub or a bubble bath or like a massage, right? Anything you can give to yourself. You don't have to go out and pay for them, right? The last time you did a yoga practice. These are different ways for you to surrender. There's plenty of ways to practice surrendering. Do so. Journaling is an act of surrender. Surrendering the emotions and the experiences that are stuck and stored in the body and giving them to your book, right? Which is essentially a conversation with source. There are different ways to do it. Make sure that you surrender this week. Okay? Literally do not lose all of this wisdom and insight that's now illuminated for you by being like, oh no, I'm just gonna keep it to myself because there's so much going on. Surrender, okay? That's the main thing. And I say that with a lot of fierceness because I feel like a lot of us are going to try to make excuses in doing that. And you don't need to make excuses. You just need to do it. Just surrender. Even if you're like, well, I don't know. How do I surrender? Literally, you can say, I surrender this. Sometimes when I'm in a really tough moment, I'm going to say, oh yeah, I don't have it. I don't have it. I don't. I don't know what to do. Or a lot of times I'll say, I'm just a girl. That's my way of surrendering. I'll be like, I'm just a girl. Wait. I am just a girl. That's all I have for you. I'm just a girl. I don't know what else you want me to tell you, what else you want me to do. I don't have it. People are like, oh my God, like so crazy. My ex-partner used to be like very stressed out. Like, what are you, just a girl? I'm like, I'm just a girl. I'm just a girl. I don't know how to help you. I don't know. And that was my way of like letting go and surrendering to the moment and reminding myself to like, girl, you don't have to be superwoman. If you do not have the skill set for this or the capacity, that's also okay. Chill out, right? Second card, we pulled this before. It's a full moon in Scorpio. So this means that plenty of us really did not do this. So we need to do it. It's time to release negativity, okay? It's going to show you guys this card again. Love the purple. Stands for wisdom, for royalty, for the unknown, for the mystery in life. Scorpio energy is all about transformation. It's all about life and death all the time. Anyone with Scorpio placements, especially like in major parts, like in their top 3 or like their Venus or like, pretty much if you have it anywhere. Like I have a Scorpio stellium. So like it's very heavy in my chart. We understand life and death. Most Scorpios are not afraid of death because we understand it's a continuation. It's not like this absolute thing that happens like you're disconnected from the world. You're in fact then in tune with another one. So that helps us a lot when it comes to like releasing the heavier things in life, um, because we understand there's a time and place for everything. It's time to release any negativity. You've been holding on to this negativity. It's as full as it can be. If you continue to hold on to this negative belief, habit, thought process, I don't know, way of life, person, environment, whatever it is, if you hold on to it past this week, it is going to cause you another transformation that you do not necessarily need right now. Whenever Scorpio energy comes up in your life, whether it be a person or symbolic in like a card or something like that, it is a call to transform, right? If you do it in the way in which the energy is communicating to you, right? If you let go, you're good. The transformation will be a lot softer. If you do not, remember that saying I said before, if you don't willingly go with the universe will drag you, because the transformations happen regardless. So I prefer you to just release the negative energy as opposed to hold on to it and being dragged in the experience, because it's not going to be fun. Okay? Our last card is in reverse, so that's that internal work that we want to do. And it says emotions are running high. This is a super full moon, okay? You see how big the moon looks in this card? Inwardly, it kind of feels like it's me having a conversation with myself. Sorry. It's a whole, yeah. It's like, this is why we want a fourth card, because it could feel a little, we'll see. Okay. So inside it could feel like you're swelling up, right? Like you're at the tip of like bursting open, right? With all these emotions. It could be good emotions, it could be sad emotions, whatever the case is. It's probably because you haven't released a negative emotion. That's why you're feeling so full and not in a good way, right? It's really important that you do the self-care that you need to do, that you surrender, right? To make the space. Otherwise, you're gonna pop, because emotions are running high, right? In any way, shape, or form, in your personal life, in your professional life, as a global citizen, like everything is at like, it's like a pressure cooker, right? It's crazy times, right? Please take care of yourself. Make space by surrendering. Make space by letting go. Do you guys see why these two cards were pulled first? Because there's a lot of shit that's going on within us. We're carrying so much right now. So much. Please honor the first two cards. Otherwise, you're going to burst. And I would not want that experience for you at all, okay? If we're able to honor letting go of the negativity, if we're able to reconnect and have trust in our connection to source, there's so much more beauty that can come from our lives. So please take heed of the cards this week. If they resonate with you, that's wonderful. If you're like, girl, that's not me, I love this for you. Let me know in the comments which card really resonates for you before we jump into our meditation, okay? Linda, thank you so much for the donation. Thank you. I really like that. Thank you for the extra sharing on it. No problem. Need to work on your relationship with your cards. Yes, I do. It's true. I'm receiving that hard. Yeah, letting go and allowing. I surrender. Yes, Marquand. I surrender yesterday and realizing to continue. Yes, it's an ongoing practice, just like forgiveness. It's an everyday thing. You don't forgive once and then everything's cute. No, you have to surrender every day. Every day. And the truth is, when you're able to practice doing it every day or even every week, maybe you can't do it every day, that's understandable, but at least once a week you have a practice to let go. Maybe it's a cord cutting, maybe it's a selenite wand and you're waving down your aura, right? Whatever it is, just a practice of surrender, right? For me, I like to take a nice Epsom salt bath, and that's me pulling out that negative energy from the salt, right? Bathing myself in protection. It's a great way to surrender. Praying every day for me is a way for me to surrender. Journaling, a way for me to surrender. But you need to do it. You need to surrender. You need the space in your body, right? Like, our physical bodies are only but so big, and they have stored everything we've ever experienced. Give it some relief. Let go, okay? Okay. Catching up. I love my Sundays with Lotus. Thank you. Oh, Linda, thank you. I'm a Scorpio. Same, Linda. Yes. I release negativity. Yes, Marquand. Tammy, I often felt struggle around the term surrender because I've interpreted it as giving in or letting go, and I don't always know how. You just reminded me via that card that to surrender something also means to give something up or turn it over. Yes, that feels more accessible, to hand something over to my source, knowing it will be received from me, for me. Yes, huge moment of my personal wisdom revealed for me through you via that card. Yes, Tammy, yes. I know for a lot of us that like are go-getters or like recovering perfectionists, the idea of giving something up means that we failed, right? Usually think of surrender like the white flag, right? It means that like you lost, haha, you have to now go to your captor. That's like a warped sense of surrender. Again, media is very confusing, but that's not what it means. It literally means to give this to something that can actually handle it. It's a call for relief. You deserve that relief. Give yourself access to that, okay? Yes, I released my old identity. Yes. Yes, military surrender. Exactly, Jack. Yeah. And it's like, yeah, that's kind of terrifying. If we have that understanding of surrender, like, no, I don't want to surrender. I'm not trying to go to the captor. I'm good. I'm good over here. But that's not what it means, right? That's what I need to do, Jack, right now. I'm a troubled guest. Michelle, you're really present right now. I agree. Marquand, thank you so much for the donation. Tashawn, I love it here. I'm happy. Your partner's a Scorpio. Okay. I love sitting in water. Same, Matthew. Frequency music and sitting in water. Yes. Recovering perfectionist. Same here. Same here. Scorpio sisters. My lucky day. Yes. Yes to relief. I felt like a pressure cooker lately. Hence the third card about to pop. Yeah. I think many of us felt like that. I know I felt like that for sure. For sure. And I took off yesterday completely. I was like, yeah, I'm not doing anything for anyone. I let people know if I had any type of arrangements with them, and I just stayed home and took care of myself. And I instantly felt better, instantly feel more like myself, right? For honoring that truth. So, yeah, please honor the cards this week, right? The message in them, okay? Surrender to the divine. Release the negativity for transformation, please and thank you. Seriously with this card though, because like Scorpio energy gets a really bad rap because people are like, oh my god, it's so dark, it's so heavy. Like, we are the iceberg, the unknown. That's Scorpio energy. When we talk about like the water signs, like Pisces energy is considered like mist or like the fish in the water, right? And then the Cancer energy is like at the shore where it can go on land or off land, right? So you have that duality. And then Scorpio energy is like the depth, the cold, the crushing part of the ocean. And people are really like, that's not a cool place to be. But like, there's so much unknown there. There's like a whole other world in that part of the water that many of us will never really know. But a lot of transformation happens there. And the truth is, if you do not willingly accept that truth, it will drag you under. It will feel like you have weights on your ankles and you'll be drowned in that feeling. I don't want you to be drowned in that feeling. I'm saying this as someone who consistently has to navigate that drowning feeling over the past 30 years. Like, just figure out a way to let go of the energy, okay? Whether that's like going to a rage room or, doing ecstatic dancing or, running, whatever it is, use your body to release the negative energy. It's not a logical thing that I need you to do. It's a somatic, a move your body thing I need you to do, okay? Your Scorpio rising, yes, letting go so much today. It feels transformative. Thank you. I'm so happy to hear that. And ladies who bleed, please remember, please honor your cycle and all the craziness and changes that happen in the body daily. Agree, Tammy. Thank you. Same here. Yesterday, I woke up without my bearings. I just let it go and went inside. Exactly. I was like, yeah, I'm not my best self today. And I'm not trying to force that experience. I just don't have it today. That's what we're going to do. And I'm completely okay with it. I didn't cook for myself. I ordered food. I never order food. I'm really a big person on cooking for myself. I was like, yeah, I'm going to order food. I'm going to relax, take care of myself, sleep as long as I want to, because I need this. And I know that I do, right? You're so welcome. Okay, quickly, let's do a quick little meditation, okay? All right. Do it very quickly, but with intention, I want you to close your eyes. Soften your gaze. Tune inward in this moment. Whatever's going to feel safest for you. Take a nice deep inhale. Expand the lower belly. Breathing into the heart space. Exhale, letting go. Deep inhale, breathing in. Open mouth, exhale, letting go. Deep inhale, breathing in, expanding the belly. Exhale, letting go. Give yourself this moment to slow down, to tune in, to spend time with yourself. Notice how the body feels. If there's any tension anywhere, use your breath, your life force, to breathe into that space. And on that exhale, dissolve any energy that may be there. Relaxing the jaw, dropping your tongue from the roof of your mouth, maybe creating some space between your teeth. If it feels good to pull on your earlobes and pull them down for a few, it's a great way to feel relaxed. Relaxing the shoulders, opening up the heart space. Spend time with your body consciously right now. Notice how it feels as you breathe in and out. Allow yourself to be present, to be intimate with your body in this moment. There is so much for you to discover in this beautiful vessel that tethers you to the world around you. And the truth is, you need more time with yourself. You need more patience with yourself. Use each breath to release the need of rushing to get somewhere, rushing to help someone, rushing to complete something. Release that energy of rushing and encourage the energy of relaxing. Relaxing into the body, relaxing into the mind, relaxing into the experience. When we are relaxed and we show up in a space or we show up in a relationship, we are able to be our very best, come from our heart, show up as kind and loving beings that we are. Deep inhale, breathing in. Slow exhale, letting go. You have access to this feeling of relief, of relaxation at all moments of every day. And the more time you spend with yourself, the more time you spend practicing accessing that truth so that it becomes automatic in moments of crises, in moments of discomfort. Your body will know to come to a space of relief and relaxation as opposed to trying to power through it because of the discomfort it provides. Deep inhale, breathing in. Open mouth, exhale through the mouth. Deep inhale, breathing in. Exhale through the mouth. I want you to place one hand over the heart as we set a collective intention to surrender this week. Surrender what's no longer serving us. Surrender our creativity, our ideas, our beliefs, whether we feel that they are good or bad. We give them to our source. And if they are not for us, source will transform it into something that is. And if they are for us, it will clarify and amplify what it is that we need to do next. ultimately this week, we will practice strengthening our relationship to Source through surrender by letting go, by giving it up to Source. And we'll see where that takes us, allowing it to be an adventure, a journey, an experience that frees up space within us so that we can raise our baseline of happiness, of joy, of bliss, so that we remain centered in what is true and what is divine about us. Deep inhale, breathing in. Slow exhale, letting go. And now I'm going to give you a few breaths to set your own intention, a personal intention for this week. My prayer for you is that as you move throughout this week, you get opportunities to surrender, that you remember the conversation we've had, our heart to heart today. And you remember that you have the ability to provide yourself relief when you need it by surrendering to Source, strengthening your faith and your trust in yourself and whoever you call on to in your time of need. That you remember this conversation as you move through any discomfort that the week may give you. And that by the time you come back next Sunday, you will feel relief. You will feel aligned. You will feel even more capable in your ability to surrender, to let go. And so it is. When you're ready, you can open your eyes or refocus your gaze, come back to the space. Let me know how you're feeling, okay? And before we leave, I'm going to just announce something really quickly. EJ, hi Lotus, thank you for your insight on my youngest of 3. He's a Scorpio, and this explains a lot. The sweetest rager. Yeah, it's a dark space. It's a dark space, you know? My niece is a Scorpio moon, and when she was younger, she would say, like, really, like, interesting things. Like, yeah, everybody dies. And we're like, dude, you're like, why would you bring that up? It's just like, this, is that not true? It's like, it's true, but, like, why are you thinking about that? And it's because there's death and rebirth all the time for all of us, but especially for Scorpios, like it's almost like a daily thing. This is probably like my 50th version of myself all the time. We're constantly mourning and celebrating, always. Okay, so if you have anybody with heavy Scorpio placements, they understand darkness in a way that if you allow them to show up in your life, it will help you to relieve any of that heaviness you feel. Okay? It's not something to be like afraid of, it's just something to acknowledge. Every sign has something special about them. Um, and Scorpio energy governs the reproductive system, the thing that creates life, like literally, right? So it's something to remember when you're accessing that Scorpio energy, whether it be for yourself or for someone else, okay? Yeah, we're extremes. It's very much a black or white experience for Scorpios, but we do, as we get older and we cultivate our understanding, we have the ability to live in the gray for others. Like if you live in a gray area, that's cool. But for Scorpios, we either live in the black or the white. We don't have a gray area, like at all. We're extremist. It's part of the fixed sign energy. We are who we are, and we will always be that way. It can evolve into something softer, right? Given the right care and experiences, or it can evolve in something a little harder, depending on their life path and their journey. Okay? Yes, I feel like I've had several lifetimes in this lifetime. Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Same. You're starting a new one now, Jax? Understood. Understood. It is exhausting, you know? But we also have, because of that fixed energy, we also have the ability to just really power through things. So like to other people, yeah, it would be very exhausting. But like it's like a Tuesday for us. It really it's an interesting life. It's an interesting life for sure. Yes, constantly releasing stagnant energy from sacral chakra to Scorpio rising. Yeah, yeah. I am. I'm a Scorpio sun, Scorpio Mercury, so I communicate in a very transformative way. Scorpio Venus, so loving me or having an intimate relationship with me requires a lot of transformation on both people's parts. It's always a fun time. And my Pluto's in Scorpio, and that's a generational planet. So, that's always fun. There's beauty in it once you realize its place. Exactly, Linda. Yes. Yes. There is retrogrades coming up. Yeah. Okay. Keep that in mind. Again, I have the retrograde masterclass. I'm pretty sure it's on YouTube, but I know for a fact it's in the Garden. The Garden is a private membership. But if you guys want to join the free version of that, it is here on Insight Timer, and it is called Lotus Living. Okay. And then this is the other one. And then if you guys want to join, this is the podcast. Okay. What I wanted to announce before we go is that for August, which is literally next week, so exciting. We're going to be discussing this book, The Celestine Prophecy. I got a new copy because my other copy is at my mom's house and I don't feel like going to Queens to get it. So I got another copy. We'll be talking about the 9 insights. We'll be going over them in the lives here, but they won't be as in depth, okay? And this is to bring a sense of fairness to the people that are part of the paid membership. So those classes are going to be a bit more in depth, but I still want to go over the 9 insights publicly because I did promise you all that I would do that, okay? So yes, I wanted to make sure that we did that. Wow, what a productive session. Thank you. Thank you for being here, Matthew. You're a New Yorker. I am born and raised New Yorker. I just happen to live in Philadelphia. My sister moved out here, but I am from New York City. Yes, time for a nap. Please take a nap. Yes, that's a good thing to do. I'm from Brooklyn. I love that, Linda. Yes, a New Yorker. Yeah. If you guys hear me, my accent comes out. I have a very strong New York accent. It was very productive, Maxie. Thank you, Lotus. You're so welcome, Michelle. Made in Brooklyn. Oh, I was born in the Bronx, and then I grew up in Queens, Long Island. Lived in Brooklyn, Harlem. Lived everywhere except for Staten Island, pretty much. But yes, so be on the lookout for that. Okay, I'm gonna be putting out the RSVPs for the next few Lotus hours, and then we have a midweek check-in on Wednesday that I'm going to do right now because if I don't, I forget the timeline again. We meet up every Wednesday and we do an EFT session. So if you've never tapped before, if you enjoy tapping, definitely check that out. We celebrate our wins on Wednesdays and then we tap in. And we usually have a conversation like we do now. So if you want to have that too, is to help us kind of keep up the momentum. And then normally you get an email from me in between the week and on Saturday. But last week was very heavy for me, so I didn't give one out. So you should probably see one maybe today or tomorrow because I do feel a lot better. And yeah, okay. I love you all so much. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for the donations that you guys were able to give. Again, you could donate even after the live. If not, please leave a review or a rating for a track. Join the Insight Timer group. Join the garden if you need to. What else can you do? Share the lives that are coming up. These are all great ways to call our family home, right? The reason why I ask you to do this is because it gives us more visibility. As you can see, it's very beneficial being in this space with each other so we can call more people to have the same experience. We're doing something beautiful for the collective consciousness, okay? So I thank you in advance for whatever way you contribute, even if it's just showing up today and being here with me, being here with us. I deeply appreciate that so much. If you want to dive in deeper and do the coaching program with me that we'll have for this book in particular, feel free to shoot me a DM or join the email list. All of that is available literally on Insight Timer, okay? Tammy, thank you so much for your donation. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. Collective consciousness. Yes, yes, yes. This felt so different today, but very valuable. I'm so happy, Jack. Thank you. Brandy, hi. You're so welcome. Zahida, you're so welcome. Cool. I'm in Westchester now. Cool. I lived in Westchester too. Man, I was in White Plains for a while. Tammy, thank you for the session today, Lotus. So deeply meaningful. I was guided here and got exactly what I needed. Thank you, Tammy. Tammy, if you're not on the email list, can you send me a direct message with your email? I would love to add you to it so that you can just get more stuff. Okay? I love you all so much. Thank you for joining me. And I will hopefully I'll see y'all on Wednesday, same time. I'm literally going to do it now. I promise you'll see it in the next like 5 minutes. I promise. And every day in the Lotus Living group on Insight Time, and we tap at 11:11. There's one at 7:17 too. And then I'm going to add a night one. I know we talked about that too. So thank you again so much. Okay, perfect. Yes, yes, yes. At 11:11. Thank you, Jack. You guys can do that 11:11 EST and we tap in together, okay? And I plan on being there for today. So I hope to see you all there too. All right? Love you guys so much. Have a beautiful day. Bye.